Hello everybody, welcome to Rewrite Your Reality with Reese. I am your host, and on today's video you created all the abundance there is, quite literally, right? So there were two questions that came into my channel community focused on money and the reality creation experience, on things that you don't necessarily know how they would manifest. So I'll start with the second question first, right? Because everything happens first anyway. The question was quite amusing, actually. It was based on a video that I put out some time ago now, and it involved a hippo and a kiwi. I'm not entirely sure what I said, but it must have been quite entertaining. Because the question was, if I can imagine a hippo filled with kiwis and assume myself in that state, how come it's not possible to mirror it in the 3D reality experience? The answer lies in the question, actually. The question begins and ends with the premise, it's not possible. You already believe that it's not possible to imagine and experience such a thing. Well, you believe you can imagine it, but you believe that it's not possible as a physical 3D experience in some way where this idea manifests in according to what it is you are imagining. Now, I'll add a little bit of I'll add a little bit of depth to this, obviously, right? So, you are not here to try and force what you believe to be impossible to be possible. You are just here to know that everything that you can imagine is possible. But you're not trying to deny organic expressions of life. We can take birth. I know NevilleGoddard has a birth example that a baby takes 9 months. Even that's a little not necessarily 100% true, because you can have a birth that is 8 months, 10 months, something like that. You can have early birth, and we have the experiences of all else already going on. But I'm not using it as evidence, just as a way to show you that even Source's way of showing us that there is a unfolding of reality, that unfolding is not the only way it can unfold reality. So, birth, right? You are not trying to recreate the wheel. You have already created the wheel. What we typically try to do is try to make something else something else. But we're not even trying to do that. What we are trying to do is prove to ourselves why either reality creation does work, or try to find a boundary to where it doesn't work. Whatever you are inferring with your imaginational scene, whatever you are being in your own awareness of it, that's what you're going to experience. So if you are experiencing, how is this going to work? From limitation, you are going to create a reality of limitation. So it's about understanding that the reflection is always your assumption. So if your assumption is, hey, this is not possible, even the 3D physical you who comes up with the question, if I can imagine, etc., it's not possible in your experiencing, and you are experiencing it not being possible because you started with it not being possible. That's why. So a hippo or anything else, even in the sentence, is already a predetermined belief behind it already. You already have that. You already have a set of lungs, a baby, a heart, a hippo, a shark, a bird, the sun, the moon, already works. It's not about saying I'm going to imagine the moon being a piece of cheese and it splits and everyone on Earth gets dairy. See, I can just say any random thing like that, and immediately that those images, experiences just sort of happen in your awareness and you get a kick out of it. It's Source just experiencing itself. Now, I am not trying to make the moon into a block of cheese, right? Because we have a predetermined experience, belief of what the moon actually is. It being that way is not a limitation in terms of what is possible. It's just a predetermined limitation of what it is being presented as. That's it. That's all. There's nothing else to that. A thing that you are looking at is the thing that you are looking at, but it's just a version of your physicality looking at the physicality of whatever it is you're looking at. If you see a mountain, it is a mountain, but there is no mountain. It's just source looking at itself, presented as what we are calling and referring to a mountain. But there's no actual objective mountain that anyone is seeing, even if we are experiencing everyone else seeing the mountain we are seeing. From our perspective, not the physical perspective, from our awareness perspective, we are just seeing our physical self and their physical self seeing it from our perspective. From their perspective, they're doing the same thing from their perspective. There is no objective mountain. There is no objective hippo. There is no objective kiwi that comes out of it, right? Here's the thing. The state of imagination, not the 3D outcome, that's the manifestation. Your state is what manifests. Your identity of being this, knowing that I am awareness, is what manifests. If you can genuinely assume the state of knowing, then that assumption is the manifestation itself. I don't entirely know what you would want to do with a hippo and a kiwi, but go for it, right? The physical reflection will appear in whatever form aligns naturally within your field of experiencing. So the only question becomes, who am I? Assume that, feel that, and know that. And I will say that the follower, hi by the way, followed up with another question which is more typical in 3D reality, which is a wonderful one. I don't know how to unpack this. If you are of a certain age, 60 I think it was, and of a certain height, how can you then imagine yourself playing professional basketball? Fantastic question, right? I think I have another video about this. Instead, I didn't say basketball. I think I used F1. Ironically, the F1 movie came out and Brad Pitt is 60 and he's driving an F1 car. Quite funny, right? So here's the thing. Again, you're still starting with the limitations. So you're starting with the limitations, bringing forth the reality where even though you are old and not to the irrelevant height, because there are a myriad of heights of people who play basketball, not just 7 feet tall. There are people who are 5 foot tall, I think, throughout history who have played basketball professionally. And you're starting with the limitation of why you can't do it. So you're going to always continue feeling the limitation of not being able to do it because you're starting with the limitation first. I physically haven't the slightest idea how it would manifest. I only know one thing. If you desire it, it exists within you. That's it. Now that's literally what I'm only pointing at. I have no idea how your desires can manifest. No one does. That's the point of why we're here. We have all forgotten who we are, remembering who we are. But you don't start by remembering little tidbit by tidbit of who you are. You remember that you are everything. Okay, cool. Now from that everything, what am I? That's who you are. So if you can imagine it, it must be true. If you can desire it, if you desire to really be a professional basketball, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of whatever's going on, assume that it exists. Imagine it. Imagine the fulfillment of it. Imagine the hippo filled with kiwis. It doesn't matter. Imagine whatever you think fulfillment is, and experience that fulfillment. Because it's just I am, and you already know where you are pointed at internally. You already know what it is you desire to be experiencing, because you are the creator of that experience itself. Now, observing beliefs without ownership of it. When I say ownership, I don't mean, hey, these don't belong to you. The belief belongs to your awareness, but you are not the believer in the belief. You are the awareness in where the belief can manifest as an experience. You don't You aren't living as that belief. You are creating the experience where you are believing that it is the only belief, that you have it for whatever reason because it is the truth. But it is not. It is a truth that you can experience. But the real truth is that you are all of them. So notice your thoughts, notice your preferences and reactions arising. It can be anything. It doesn't matter. I like jackets. I don't like glasses. I like my hair parted to the left. It doesn't matter. Those beliefs do not belong to you. They are preferences of your experiencing of reality. You are reality. Like thinking something looks silly or rejecting an idea or a style or a behavior. Realize that these thoughts, these ideas, they are not inherently yours. You contain them. You did not consciously create them, nor did you pick them up intentionally. They existed in awareness and you simply experienced them as real at one time and you never gave it a second thought. It's like, oh, this must be real. I had this belief and it happened. Or that happened and now I had the belief because it happened. But beliefs are experiences given to the self by itself, by its own awareness. They appear vividly because they can't not appear vividly. It has to appear vividly. Everything appears vividly in the physical reality. It is your awareness experiencing vividly what it is. To recognize that you, I, have the capacity to experience anything, regardless of what the belief actually is. You just never had the foresight as awareness to change it to something else. And to show you that no matter the experience, you are the chooser of it. Often you get to this point where, I'll say two things here. You get to the point where, okay, how do I choose another belief? And then you often try to chuck the other one. Don't chuck the other one. You can't. It's not going to go anywhere, nor can you. Embrace that other one in the knowing that, hey, if this belief is here, the polarizing belief to it must also exist. As in, if this is I am not, the I am of it must also exist. And you combine both and be the identity of awareness that has both. Now they're both yours, and you're choosing that one as your preference. Instead of spending more time trying to throw the one away where it's not going to go anywhere. If you throw it this way, it's going to come back right at you. Right? So judge not by appearance. As in this case, do not judge the appearance of your own judgments, your own thoughts, your own beliefs, your own this and that. Yes, sometimes they get a little frustrating, as if I can't believe I've had this belief since I was 10. I'm remembering it now. Good God, right? But they are not your essential self. They were beliefs now visible, ready to be understood of what they are, which are nothing more than things that have lit up to show you who you are no longer being. So be grateful that the belief you had from when you were 10 about something or other came up, because it means you started to believe something that is in opposition to it. And if it's in opposition to it, it must come up because it's showing you who you no longer are. That's it. Now, when we experience these things, we have resistance. But that's nothing more than a reflection. It's not a barrier to anything. Right? The discomfort, the rejection, this is silly, those reactions, understand it is not happening inside your physical 3D self. You might be feeling it as if it is happening inside you physically, but it is reality rearranging where, yes, the 3D physical manifested effect is this chemical reactions going on inside you, but it is reality just shifting. That's all. And you are reality shifting. You are experiencing the beliefs of the current identity. And the current identity is created from those beliefs simultaneously. It's not that the situation happened and then you made a belief. It's not that you had the belief and then the situation happened. They coexist. They are the same thing. They are one thing. The belief and the situation is one idea. The affirmation of I am healthy, wealthy, chosen, free, and loved, whatever, it's one thing with the physical represented imaginational experience or the images or the knowing of whatever as the same thing. So the phrase and the scene is one. It's one thing. It is the phrase and the images as one idea. You may as well say this phrase, I am chosen, I am loved, I am free, I am anything, is the text representation, and this is the image representation, but the knowing that created them as the representation of what it is you. So when you're reading a book, you're reading words, but you're seeing the images. When you're watching a movie, you're remembering and you're listening to the words and you're watching the images, but they're all one idea. That idea came from you. So your awareness is first and last and the only cause. The identity just exists within you. Rejecting it is literally rejecting yourself. That is why when you tell somebody you can't do something, you shouldn't be doing that. You don't do things this way. You are rejecting a version of yourself experiencing that. Because you are saying you cannot physically experience and don't have the awareness or the reality of where you are there and experiencing that person doing that. So you are rejecting a version of yourself. It might not be your preference, you might not agree with it, but that's perfectly fine. You are also rejecting a version where you are doing that and someone is telling you not to. Both are yours because you created it. It is your divine beingness at work. It does not mean you prefer it. It just means that it is within you and it's you. It is temporary. An experience of believing in the moment that what you desire does not exist. You are in another version of reality, the solidity of it, and the impossibility of changing it. Resistance. It's just a belief, and you are feeling the identity who believes that. That's it. You don't have to do anything with that person because it isn't your choice in the first place to do anything or even be that identity. You just have it within you. Sure, you experienced having a bad day. That's it. It doesn't do anything, doesn't change anything. Everyone experiences a bad day. Just an experience. Because you have the idea of a good day. So it's polarity. It doesn't do anything. You don't overcome resistance by forcing it or pushing it away. You allow it to exist fully, feel it completely, and then you essentially, as you're experiencing it, you are watching it die on its own because you're not giving it anything to do. Because you're allowing it to just be there. No matter how long it is there. Resistance is simply source energy in your own awareness filtered through the idea of resisting something, because everything is filtered through an idea. So instead of rejection, accepting, combine it, and then rise above it, knowing you are awareness in which it all is happening within. Now, there was a question about manifesting money, which is the whole point of this specific video in any case. And I came up with these 8 points. I'm just going to go through them. Question: how do I manifest money? Now, it's not about complexity. It's not about doing more processes. It's not about more techniques. It is a very simple but deeply layered expression of reality itself. What's going on? Now, the desire for money is perfectly valid. There's no, oh no, you shouldn't desire money, this blah, blah, blah. None of that's true. The desire for money is actually the desire for a physical version of you who is experiencing having the physical expression of wealth and abundance and the source reality of you buying whatever it is you're going to be buying. Those are all realities. Those are all shifting realities, and those are all experiences of reality of the same source that you are. So source wants to experience that, because otherwise why would it have come to you? Why would it have created it in the first place just to deny you? So you can't deny yourself. You can't. God doesn't deny you. You deny yourself by not experiencing it. You are denying yourself by saying, no, I'm not going to experience this as awareness, and you're pushing it away. So it is quite literally you denying yourself. And when you deny yourself, Source says, yeah, okay. You are denied because you are the one that did it. So desiring is just wanting a new experience of reality. So experience it. Now you are not the 3D self. The you were 5 minutes ago no longer exists, and you were never that person. The memory that you are remembering of that identity is you recreating a similar version with the filter of time that they existed 5 minutes ago. Even if it was in the future, you're creating the illusion that this version of myself will exist in 5 minutes. And we do that sometimes because we imagine plans on the weekend. We create the projected image throw a filter of, let's say, today's Wednesday in this video. So we create the idea of 3 days now, that version of me, Saturday night, is doing this. But understand, it's just a filter. You are filtering the idea of this frame that exists in 3 days. Think of an app filter, right? You add vintage or futuristic or whatever, but it's an illusion that the frame just has built into it. Everything's happening now. So time and distance are filters of feeling. Both are illusions. And the illusionary ways to experience separation or perceived gap. If you were to look on the screen, I seem far away from you. But it's just the effect of the screen. I'm actually on the front of the screen here, but obviously the effect is I'm way back here, the TV is way behind me, but you can effectively go and touch it. Now, it's a little different of an experience in the 3D world because we are experiencing it from within the screen. That's why we can actually experience the depth. That's why we can experience the 5 minutes ago, right? But tomorrow, in a year, a previous year, all of that, they're just filters of now. You're literally creating and yes, Source even has the filtered version of yesterday, but it's all now. Just like in a movie, there's no yesterday in a movie. It's just the movie that's happening then and there. Yes, they shot it over a few days, but again, that's within our experiencing of the reality movie. So a movie is actually a representation of the reality movie, but it's a smaller version with a singular story. So money is the same illusion. The lack of money is just another filter that you are recreating. You are infinitely abundant. You have to be infinitely abundant. You created it. Why would you not create infinitely? So no money is a self-created contrast so you can know what abundance feels like. If you were born into, some people are, literal abundance, where you not even in a 3D manifested way, but in a cosmic, typical God way, where if you thought something, it literally appeared in front of you and you could eat it, right? You would not even have the recognition that you were doing this. You would not even have the idea of what abundance means because it would be your normal. It is Source's normal. So identify with being Source as your normal, to the point where you even created the lack of it as another version of your normal. But your natural state is abundance because you're choosing it to, because you are the creator of abundance. You are here to experience the creation of abundance. So belief and outcome are simultaneous, not cause, effect, two sides of the same one experience. But you are experiencing the polarity of it so you can actually know it's an experience. And each belief is one version of yourself, and you contain all of them. So don't fight the lack version. Just know it exists and choose the abundant one because you're aware of it now. Awareness holds both. Preference chooses experiences, right? Your awareness holds both, and your preference is choosing that experience. Obviously, you don't attract money like a magnet. I know that looks like the 3D effect, and that's still even that idea where you're attracting something, changing vibration, your subconscious, your frequency, all of this stuff is still 3D sandbox logic. While it's fun, while it is a belief, it's not reality. Reality is reality. That's just a story in reality. And you are not here to fix the illusion, you're here to recognize and remember yourself as Source. So, true abundance, right? Give awareness to abundance. Give awareness to yourself as awareness. Give awareness to yourself as the source of everything. Give awareness to the self, to the knowing that no matter what you are imagining, it's coming from your knowing first. It's the one you identify with, right? You are a blank slate containing every single slate that exists. So choose the frame you prefer and integrate everything. Don't just reject. Don't reject the feeling of rejection. Don't reject the experience of rejection. Don't reject the experience of not being paid or not getting money or not doing this or not doing that. Embrace it, combine it, rise above it, and imagine your preference and assume you are in your preference. So let the 3D naturally reorganize, rearrange, unfold itself around that chosen identity, because it's you doing that. The manifestation is not arriving, it's unfolding now as a reflection. So that's money. And you can replace the word money with anything, doesn't matter. I am your host, Reese. This is Rewrite Your Reality with Reese. Thank you for the questions. Fun as they were, hippos, kiwis, and basketball, and money. And all effortlessly the same thing, because they're all coming from the same place, you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for liking. Thank you for the stunning comments that have popped in the last couple of days as well. Always. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, joining, the questions, the comments, the joining of the TikTok page, joining of the Facebook page, the emails. If you need, want, desire to ask a question, no matter what the question is, if you have this question within you, it is a way for you to know yourself as source. Please ask it. Ask it with the expectation that I'm using this question to understand myself as source. If you're asking the question to continuously deny reality creation, no matter what I answer, you're going to deny it, right? So ask the question in willingness to understand something a little deeper than you may currently be aware of. So much love, much light, and I'll see you on the next one.